And I left school when I was 14, and I went to work for WW2 Smith. I worked for them for 4.5 years, and I joined the RAF at a Lancaster House, Kingsway in London. When I was in Cranleigh, I had joined the territorials. I enlisted in Guildford to the 2nd 5th Battalion of the Queen's Royal Regiment. That gave me some idea of what was going on as an infantryman, and I could see war was coming. An infantryman was not me, so I joined the Air Force. Well, I enlisted in a Lancaster House. I was kitted up in London, and then I went for initial training in Linton on Ouse in Yorkshire. And there I did my initial training. And at the end, I enlisted as a flight mechanic E engine. But at the end of my initial training, there was nowhere for me, no course available. They'd enlisted all these people and they hadn't got the courses to do it. So we were hanging about there now for a couple of months, and then they came around and said, anybody want to volunteer for balloon operator? So we were all fed up, so off we went, down to Cardington, and we trained as balloon operators. We were trained in classes in the old R101 hangar. It used to take about a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes to open the doors on that with the handles. We were trained in classes, individual classes, and we was there with the balloons, you know, and we were trained on what to do there. Whether how to handle the balloons, how to repair the balloon, all the measurements and the rigging, or the internal operations of a balloon. There were 2 balloons in the war. One was for the land operation, and then they had a smaller one with a fixed fin at the back, which were operated from ships. And when I came to Swansea, we were billeted on the Roundhead by the King's Lock. And there we operated the balloons first, and then when the small ones started to come in, we operated there from, we had a shed there, you know, on the Roundhead, where we could take them in and repair them and service them, one thing or another. We used to take them off on when the ships were locking in or locking out. We put them on. We were on the 24-hour 7 rota, and when you were on the off one, you had other duties to, you know, to sort out. Repairing the balloons. The purpose was to keep them up, keep the enemy aircraft up into the anti-aircraft range, and we also had 4 balloons on buoys out on the fairway between the West Pier and Mumbles, and they were to keep the aircraft up so that they couldn't lay mines in the fairway. They formed a mobile squadron, and we've gone up to Bristol. We put balloons up all around the airfield at Bristol, and then in September 1940 there was the Germans used a French plane to raid the docks, and they shot up the canteen, and I think it was a couple killed there. There was no balloons or anything there at that time. So we were sent from Bristol up to Swansea to start, and we started from scratch. There was nothing here, and we had to build up and start from scratch. The supplies and things started to come in, of course. We were billeted, first of all, we were billeted in a house up in top of Craddock Street, on Carlton Terrace, on the corner of Carlton Terrace and Craddock. But they found that was expensive. So they had a load of bell tents and shoved us down to Jersey Marine. We had bell tents, and we arrived there quite late in the afternoon, and we had to put up tents. By the time we got it was dark, and we all settled in them for the night. And during the night they had an air raid, and just over the other side of the dune, the way we were parked, there was an anti-aircraft battery we didn't know about, and we soon found out about it. They formed a crew for all general duties in the squadron, you know. We went from Ravenhill out to the other side of Blackpool, out around the oil works, all around, out to Squadron. We had balloons all the way around in that area. The squadron was in two flights, A and B. A squadron was Swansea, and B was this in. The first thing you get a notification through, you know, they're all on a telephone call, and we were ordered to fly at a certain height. So the crew would go out and set the balloon up and get it paid out on the winch to the height ordered. Well, the balloons were packed at first and kept in a large polyester thing, you know, folded up. They had Fordson trucks with winch mounted, and there was a platform on the back where the balloon would be planted, and then they had a tow for a trailer with oxygen, with hydrogen. Well, sometimes they were flying all the time, and other times you get orders to bed down, and another time, of course, you get that's when you get orders to fly when the air raid warnings come in. When you knew that there was a real raid on, you got a little bit of. I did anyway. I should get a bit of butterfly, but. Well, I had a company of gunners down there with 6 guns, and on the side where the swimming pool is now, they had about 5 or 6 huts where they lived, you know, and they had the six guns there. And later on, they put a radar site there. I was with the crew that was on the general duties, and we used to go around with a set in the rigging, calibrating so they could calibrate. We take readings all the way around the site. On the one in St George's Field, we had to take the balloon over the Mumbles line electric cables, so they switched them off. And we had to take the balloon over the top and then up onto the golf links. And then we had to take it back again. On the Ravenhill one, behind the Ravenhill, they had a gun site there with a radar site. It was there was an old mine field up there, and a deep cutting from the mine, but the railway was to run, you know. And we had this balloon there trying to get round, but there were some big some electric cables running across over the cutting. So we tried to get the balloon down into the cutting and underneath, and we nearly made it, but the wind came along and blew one of the rudders and it choked it out and we lost the balloon. It just went up in flames. It's hydrogen. Black Pearl, they had a storm one day. It uprooted the buoy anchorage, and the buoy came in on the beach, just far down near Black Pearl. But we couldn't get to it because of the railways from the roadside. So we had to get the army people to mark a path through the minefield that was on Black Pearl, and for us to get onto the beach to get it. Well, we just had to pull it down, block and tackle. It's hard work. Well, just a squad of us, about half a dozen of us thereabouts. When the raid come, the guns were firing at the air, and the balloons were up, holding them up. That's as far as we could do. Well, when I first came here, it was at Craddock Street, in a house in Craddock Street, up in the attic. And then we were down Jersey Marine in tents for a while. And then they found the Morris Lane School redundant, and they dumped us all up in there. And I was in that school then for most of the time. I was in Swansea. Well, this is where I met my wife. My wife was broke up in a house opposite the school, and there we are. She was on the gate, and that was it. I just met her, and we were chatting away. That was it. Well, during the 3 nights blitz, we about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, it went quiet, and she and I went up the main to the reservoir, and we sat there and watched the town burn. But when I was made redundant, I was sent to Locking, and I did an engine mechanics course there. And while there, I volunteered for aircrew. But after I qualified in Locking, I was posted to a squadron down on the Romney Marshes in Czech Air Force, Spitfires. And for a while, then I was recalled and up to the aircrew reception place in London, up near the Oval Cricket Ground. And there I went through a aircrew selection course, and I passed through there, and I was sent to St Athan, where I took a course as a flight engineer. And on completion of that course, I was posted to a place called Wimbledon in Yorkshire, which is a heavy conversion unit, 1666 heavy conversion unit. There I was crewed up with my wartime crew. I was a flight engineer on 4-engine aircraft. What they used to do, they did a familiarization. They'd be put with a crew that was just about qualifying, and we've sent off on a cross-country, a long cross-country. On the first one, then I went out down Halifax Mk, and we climbed up to about 15,000 feet, and climbing around, and suddenly the aircraft started to dive the other way down. It had iced up, and the pilot couldn't pull her out altogether, but he managed, as we got down lower, some of the ice came off, and he still couldn't put it out, so he said bail out, so we bailed out. The one fellow said, down there, so I went down rear, and I bowed out. And when my parachute opened, my right flying boot went on down, and I watched it go down through the clouds. But I landed in the middle of a cornfield. I gathered up the parachute. We'd been blowing, we had air whistles for contact, and we'd been blowing those, the crew would coming down to keep in contact. I knew which direction they were in, so I gathered up my parachute and I walked up this country track, and I came to a road, and one of my crewmates was hanging in a tree, and another one had landed on the road, and he had sore feet, but there was 4 or 5 of us got together there, and we were wondering what to do, and a bus came along, and it was a busload of girls going on night shift. So they made room for us to get in the bus, and we were very welcome there with the girls. But we about a mile down the road, a policeman stopped us and got us off, because they thought we were enemy. So we hung about there for a bit, and then got transferred down to, the police transported us down to Harrogate, and we were held there for some hours. We had but they accepted us who we were eventually, and we finished up at a place called Topcliffe, RAF Topcliffe. Well, the next time I went off on a crew, my familiarization crew. On these 4-engine aircraft, they get a lot of torque loading, and when the tail comes up, if the pilot doesn't rectify the action, you do a sharp turn to the right. And the pilot that I was with there, he forgot about the direction, and we did a sharp turn to the right over the runway, and the flying tower, the control tower, was right in front of us. All aircraft around the base, so the engines were pushed through the gate, maximum, and we just got off, and it sort of skidded sideways and just skimmed over the top of the. But everything went all right after that. I completed a tour of 30 operations. One trip was on when we went on a bombing trip. We didn't go from A to B. We went from A to B to C to D, sort of, around, confusing the enemy, as it were. So we were on our last leg to target Dortmund, and we were flying at 20,000 feet, and just below us was a 10/10 cover, cloud cover. And as we were coming along, suddenly a reflected firelight came out through the clouds. And I saw this, it was flying on it was going on the same course as us, so I assumed then it was an RAF bomber. And I was watching this thing then, and suddenly when it got to the end, there was a flare up, and I was just thinking, after that, I was just thinking, well, I hope they got out, you know, and that sort of thing. And the next thing I knew, my starboard inner engine went up to over speeding to about 5,500 feet per minute, you know. But I fiddled around with it for a bit, and I got it under control. And I said to the skipper, "What do you want me to do?" He said, "Feather it." So we feathered it. So that meant we were fully loaded, 20,000 feet, with 1,700 horsepower less than we should have had. And we upped the revs on the other engines to try and hold up a bit. That by the time we got to the cargo, instead of bombing at 20,000, we were at 11,500, and all the boys at the above were dropping bombs on us. The procedure was, after you got your photo flash of the bombing, you turn on to course for home. But when you're 20,000 feet, the pilot had put it into a dive to get out quickly away from everything. We were already at the height. So we had to just crawl along, and we made it back. Got to Marham, I think it was Marham, and we've been using a lot of petrol, a lot of fuel, to try and keep up with the rest of them. When we got there, the fuel was very low. We weren't going to make base. So the pilot asked for, at Marham, for a direct entry, a direct landing, direct approach and landing. We were given permission to land on the port side, land port. So down we went, landed port, and as we touched down, my port inner caught fire. So there we were, struggling. The pilot was trying to keep the aircraft straight, and I was trying to get to the fire buttons. But I managed to get there in the end. I pushed the fire button, and it worked. I put the fire out. But we were finishing up over the side, way over starboard on the grass. Every crew had their problems. The gunner would say now and again, dive, starboard, go, 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 or port, go, 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 with the fighter on the back. And the fighters didn't like it, they wouldn't follow you for some reason or other. They'd say, well, there's plenty more in and they knew that we were aware of where they were, and they pushed off. I was posted to 431 Squadron with my crew from Wilmington in Yorkshire after we completed the heavy conversion unit course. We bombed Kiel, Hamburg, and I spent a lot of time in the Ruhr up Flat Valley, lots of time. Cologne, Dortmund, Düsseldorf, Essen, lots of others. Yeah. The worst time was just waiting by the aircraft for the instructors to get in and get going. Once you was on the job, everything just settled down. German Air Force got into the stream, the bomber stream, just about where the Canadians were flying, and they shot down a heck of a lot of them. And that was how I got to the 431 Squadron, because they were short of engineers. And so I was seconded up to the Canadian Air Force. Gunners saw what was coming on. We did a dive, a corkscrew they called it. The aircraft, when the gunners would say go, 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 the pilot would go left or right as instructed, and dive down over 300, 400 miles, nearly 400 miles an hour, twisted, diving. There was a bit of go to the sea, but otherwise, it's when you come onto when you pull out, you get the pull. In September 1944, I was commissioned. I was called up to the flight one day, and they said that I was recommended for commission if I wanted it. So I just filled in the forms, and I wasn't, well, first of all, I wasn't too keen. As I remember, I was on leave at home in Surrey, and I saw my old schoolmaster, and I told him about it. I said, I wasn't too sure about it. He said to me, if they think you're worth it, son, do it. When I was screened, I went into admin, and I did an administration course at Credon Hill in Hereford. After the course, I was posted to a place called Hednesford, where I was made a wing adjutant, demobbing people from overseas. And in those days, of course, it was all paper documents, and a lot of people overseas lost their documents. So we had a wing called the holding wing, and I was the adjutant on the holding wing. We used to have to get to Gloucester, the records office in Gloucester, and when they notified us with the information, we set them up and released them. After Hednesford, I was posted to Locken as station adjutant with Group Captain A. Pace. And I was there for, what, 18 months, 2 years. And then I was posted up to Binbrook, our operational station, to Group Captain A.A. Adams. And I was there for 12 months. And then I went back to flying for 12 months with 7th Squadron. We did a lot of exercise work with the Navy. You'd be flying out over the Mediterranean. We'd go out to Cyprus and work from there. We'd go from Malta, we went there, and we went to an RAF station in Egypt, in the canal zone called Shalufa, and we worked from there. We did a lot of exercises down there. I determined I was not going to get married before the war. Life was a bit uncertain. But come to 1945, and I was screened from flying, and I could see the things were sharp, and then I did ask. We were married in St Thomas Church on VJ Day, August 15th, 1945. I was released from the RAF December 1950. Well, I was married then, and I had my son. I settled down in Swansea. I had a letter from the squadron commander, 431 Squadron, congratulating me on my coming 100th birthday. He informed me that snowbirds, they are the equivalent of the red arrows in this country.